Michael Vick is one of the most electrifying football players that we've ever seen. And quite frankly, he was just a little bit ahead of his time. You see, he walked so that Lamar Jackson and others could run. Mike Vick was on track to have a pretty amazing NFL career until unfortunately he had to go away for a little bit. We often wonder what his NFL career could have been had he not missed those 2 seasons. So today we travel back to Madden 2008 to save Michael Vick's NFL career. So here in season number 1, Mike Vick is sitting at a 90 overall. At this point in his career, he has 11,500 yards passing, 71 touchdowns, and 52 interceptions. But the real reason why we all know and love Michael Vick is his rushing ability. And at this point in his career, he has almost 4,000 yards and 21 touchdowns, with the season prior to this being the first in history of a quarterback rushing for 1,000 yards. Now let's take a look at the team around Vick. His running back is going to be an aging Warwick Dunn, who's sitting at 32 years old. Jarius Norwood is going to be spelling him. Fullback, you got Ovi and Mugelli. At wide receiver, we got Michael Jenkins, Joe Horn, Roddy White, a real young Roddy White. Hopefully he becomes the Roddy White we all have grown to know and love IRL. He also has Laurent Robinson. At tight end, he's got Algie Crumpler, who is always a really solid option at tight end. Left tackle, we got 88 overall Wayne Gandy, but he's a 13-year pro. But players did not regress in these older games like they do on the newer Maddens. Left guard, Justin Blaylock. Center, we got Tom McClure. Right guard, we got Keenan Forney. Right tackle, we got Tom Weiner. And when it comes to the draft classes, I do have some draft classes from NCAA 08. So in this world, Matt Ryan will not be getting drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. All right, boys, so the first season is in the books. We go 7-9. We finished 3rd in the division. And taking a look at the season Vick had, I would say not too shabby. 4,500 yards. QBR was a little low, 33 touchdowns to 13 picks. Sacked 64 times, that's disgusting. Only a 53% completion percentage, 280 yards a game though. On the ground, work done, less than 1,000 yards, 834, just 3 touchdowns. Vick ran for 309 with 3 touchdowns as well. We definitely need to get a little more production there. But through the air, we have a big-time performer in Michael Jenkins, who was also going to be voted to the Pro Bowl. 96 receptions, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. Joe Horn, 56 for 804, 10 touchdowns. Algie Crumpler did his thing, scored 7 touchdowns as well. Warwick Dunn helped us out through the air. All right, boys, another season in the books, and we finished under 500 once again. Take a look at the season stats, and Michael Vick throws for 5,400 yards, 39 touchdowns, 10 picks. He was sacked 64 times, which is crazy. 57% completion percentage. I don't think it's going to get much better than that for Vick. And he threw for 338 yards a game. Did he give us anything on the ground? He did. 473 yards with another 5 touchdowns. Take a look at his receivers. Michael Jenkins has another breakout season as a Pro Bowler once again. 99 receptions, 1,600 yards, 10 tubs. Algie Crumpler makes another Pro Bowl. 69 for 902, 6 touchdowns. Warwick Dunn gave us 800 on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Our rookie Dorian Bryant, 706 yards, 7 touchdowns. Take a look at the yearly awards here, and Michael Vick is the NFL's MVP. Even with a 7-9 record, you cannot deny what Mike Vick did out there and on the field this year. He's also going to be the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year, as well as being the NFL's, no, he's actually not going to be considered the NFL's best quarterback. That's going to go to Carson Palmer. Come over here to the NFC, he's the NFC Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and come over here to the best quarterback. That one is actually going to go to Mark Bolger, and Mike Vick is going to finish behind him and Drew Brees. And if we come over and take a look at the Pro Bowl, Mike Vick is not named a Pro Bowl starter. He's behind Mark Bolger and Drew Brees once again. How does the MVP of your league not become a Pro Bowl starter? I don't know. So going over our roster for this 3rd season of the sim, Michael Jenkins is no longer there. We let him go into free agency, and he actually is going to sign with the Denver Broncos. Wide receiver, our number 1 guy is now going to be Dorian Bryant. I believe he's ready. We took him in the 1st round. Look at the standings once again, boys, and even though we improved by 2 games, we still miss out on the playoffs and winning the division. We're tied with the Saints at 9-7. The Panthers go 9-6-1. One more win, we would have been good money. Vick has another great season, almost 5,000 yards for back-to-back years, 41 touchdowns, 16 picks, sacked 54 times, 54% completion percentage. I definitely want to clean that up. 7.2 yards an attempt, 308 yards a game. On the ground, 546 yards for 3 touchdowns. Warwick Dunn did what he could do. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant, his first year as a starter, as the number 1 guy, he makes a Pro Bowl, 106 catches, 1,700 yards, 11 tubs. Algie Crumpler, 61 for 652, 8 touchdowns. Roddy White, 58 for 894, 6 touchdowns. Work done, helped us in the passing game as well. And Patrick Turner did what I felt like he could do, made the most of his limited catches and found the end zone 7 times. Yearly awards, Mike Vick is going to miss out on winning the MVP over Tom Brady. He does finish in 2nd. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Latainian Thompson. He finishes 2nd there as well. Best quarterback goes to Tom Brady, and that's all for the NFL. As far as the NFC, Mike Vick does get NFC MVP. He's also going to get NFC Offensive Player of the Year, and then he just cannot win that best quarterback. But I've got a feeling a lot of that has to do with his completion percentage and his QBR. Take a look at Pro Bowl voting. Vick is going to finish 3rd place once again behind Mark Bolger, and this time Matt Hasselbeck. All right, boys, so Warwick Dunn actually retires this year, and our guy gets selected to the Hall of Fame. Shout out to him. All right, boys, we're getting closer and closer and closer to actually making the playoffs. Taking a look at the season Vick had, man, another great year, and somehow he's not making the Pro Bowl. 4,500 yards. QBR is definitely low. 35 touchdowns, 14 picks, 55% completion percentage, 283 yards a game. On the ground, he gave us 354 with 6 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant goes crazy again. 116 catches, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Laurent Robinson, 72 for 898 touchdowns. So take a look at the NFL awards, man. Michael Vick finishes 2nd once again in MVP voting. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Carson Palmer. Best quarterback goes to Carson Palmer. Vick isn't even in the top 5. When it comes over to NFC MVP, he wins that once again. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Vick, and best quarterback goes to Mark Bolger. All right, boys, so this is by far a new low for us. 4-12 is what the team finished, and this was a contract year for Vick. Vick still did Vick things. 4,400 yards passing, 37 touchdowns, 17 picks, 55% completion percentage, 274 yards a game. CJ Gable went for 1,000 yards for us this year, 6 tubs. Vick added another 5 touchdowns on the ground. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant makes another Pro Bowl, 85 catches, 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. 874 yards for Laurent Robinson. LG Crumpler's numbers are going down. Roddy White has 7 touchdowns. So I mean, the offense was there, but something tells me that our defense was absolutely horrid. So Vick did re-sign with the Falcons for 2 years. It has finally happened. Mike Vick and the Atlanta Falcons have made the playoffs here in this sim. Take a look at the yearly awards. Vick finishes top 3 in MVP voting, top 5 in Offensive Player of the Year, and top 4 in best quarterback. Pretty high for him. Take a look at the NFC, 2nd in MVP, top 3 in Offensive Player of the Year, and 2nd in best QB. Take a look at Vick's numbers. 5,000 yards, 47 touchdowns. He did throw 21 picks, 57% completion percentage, 315 a game. On the ground, Gable 803, 6 touchdowns. Vick only ran for 1 touchdown this year. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant has been eating since he's been here. 97 catches, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns. Laurent Robinson also goes for 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. So we got 2,000-yard receivers this year. Algie Crumpler finds the end zone 7 times. Roddy White 8 times, nearly 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns for Patrick Turner. They're not going to be able to jump into these games or watch it, but we will go ahead and sim it quarter to quarter to see what Mike Vick and these guys can do. They go up 3-0 first. Looks like their drive was stuffed. They're going back and forth. Both defenses are actually playing well. All right, so here we are now. We're up 27-3, 34-3 here in the 2nd quarter. Maybe super simming for 15 minutes is a little out of pocket, but hopefully everything does level out. These dudes are up 30. 118. This is unreal. This should not be possible in a video game. 125-85, but we're here to have fun. 125-92 is your final score. We've learned a valuable lesson here today. Vick throws for 987 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. He attempted 115 passes. That man's arm is about to fall the hell off the ground. Vick ran for 135 touchdowns. Gable 206, 2 touchdowns. Wilson 239 and a touchdown. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant goes for 327 on 27 catches and a touchdown. Dog, you can't make this shit up. All right, boys, game number 2. We got Vick taking on McNabb. You know what I'm saying? And the Eagles, and we're on just 7-minute quarters now, so the score should be a lot more realistic. But you can't say you didn't laugh about the scores in the last game. Vick is up 14-6 early on in this game, and the Eagles are driving down the field here. They get stopped. Vick is driving down the field once again, but that drive is halted. The Eagles tie this one up. They go up 21-14. Here we are in the 3rd quarter. Vick is stopped. The Eagles go up 2 scores. Vick is trying to get his guys down the field. They get 3. Eagles go down and score once again, 35-14, 42-17 here in the 4th quarter. Vick's drives just keep stopping short. I wonder if Vick is actually turning the ball over here, but there's just no match. The scoring is unreal for the Eagles. Let's take a look. Yeah, Vick threw 3 interceptions, and I feel like all of the interceptions he threw were actually in the red zone. 393 yards. He was 28 for 59, 47% completion percentage. McNabb just completely outplayed him. On the ground, Brian Westbrook went crazy. Corell Buckhalter went crazy. Vick did score a touchdown on the ground as well. Receiving wise for the Falcons, Dorian Bryant did what Dorian Bryant does, but these guys just could not find the end zone. All right, guys, so right after winning the division, we regressed, and now we're 7-9, finishing in second. Even though we finished second in the division and go 7-9, Vick wins his second MVP. He's going to be NFL Offensive Player of the Year, and he's still not going to win NFL Best Quarterback. He also wins NFC MVP once again, NFC Offensive Player of the Year, and he still could not get that NFC Best QB. So in this season, Vick posts his best QBR of the sim. I believe it's his second best of his career, nearly a 91, 4,900 yards, 40 touchdowns, just 11 picks, 58% completion percentage, 308 a game, just under 7 yards an attempt. On the ground, we got 851 yards out of Gable and 4 touchdowns. Vick scored 4 touchdowns as well. Receiver-wise, Dorian Bryant is just a dog. Him and Laurent Robinson both go for over 1,000 yards once again. 27 touchdowns between the two. All right, boys, here we are getting ready for the 2014 season. And if you look, man, this team is not bad. 88 overall, 88 offense, 87 defense, 87 special teams. We have what it takes to win games. It's just something isn't clicking, bro. Somewhere along the line, we are failing. Vick wins back-to-back MVPs, third of the sim, wins Offensive Player of the Year as well. Best quarterback, he still cannot crack that in the NFL. Then in the NFC, you already know MVP, Offensive Player of the Year is always his, and he finishes second this year as Best QB. So Vick has another Vick-like season, 4,500 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, just 10 picks. 54% completion percentage, 285 yards a game. On the ground, another 3 touchdowns for 539 yards. And through the air, Dorian Bryant and Laurent Robinson both would go for 1,000 yards at the same time. 25 plus touchdowns between the two of them once again. We actually lose the MVP this year to
the Mexican that rep New York, but lose when it mattered the most. You Mark Sanchez. He also wins Offensive Player of the Year. He also wins Best QB. When it comes to the NFC, we get MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and we are never going to get that, NFC Best QB. So not only does Vick make the playoffs here at age 36, he wins the division, and he's going to get a first-round bye at 12-4. Wins another MVP. Let's go. NFL Offensive Player of the Year, NFL Best Quarterback. Finally, ever so elusive Best Quarterback. Vick is finally going to get that at almost the age of 40. NFC MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Best Quarterback once again. Let's go. Vick is also finally going to be the Pro Bowl starter. He's made the Pro Bowl a bunch of times, but this is actually going to be the first year he's a starter. So Vick throws for 4,800 yards, 50 touchdowns, just 14 picks, 57% completion percentage, 300 yards a game. On the ground, Gable did his thing. Vick 473 for 5 touchdowns. Through the air, Dorian Bryant 1,600 yards on 107 catches, 18 touchdowns. We got Mercedes Lewis over here playing tight end for us, 66 for 625 yards. Laurent Robinson, his numbers went down a ton this year. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. He's been 1,000 yards a few times in his career, 6 touchdowns. Pat Turner still with us, 5 touchdowns. Gable did his thing. And Hunter Sky is a new receiver for us, 7 touchdowns. Our boys, so after our bye, we're going to be taking on the New York Giants. Sim to the end of the game and see if Vick and these guys can put points on the board. They are up 7-3, make it 14-3, make it 21-3. The Falcons offense is doing their thing early in the first half, 28-9. 28-16, the Giants aren't laying down, but the Falcons aren't going to stop scoring. 62-39 is going to be your final score. Maybe we just got to go to 5 minutes on Super Sim because that's nuts. Vick threw 398, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. Eli Manning 441, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. All right, boys, so we sim the conference championship, and Mike Vick and the boys end up winning this game by 3. Vick threw for 403 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick, and somehow they still won this game. On the ground, Gable 44 yards of touchdown, Vick 26 yards of touchdown. This just must have been like a bad field position game for the Packers, but I'm really unsure how we found a way to win this game, but I'll take it. Mike Vick and the Falcons will be taking on the Houston Texans. I'm not even sure who's even on this team. So for the Texans, Tyrod Taylor is going to be their quarterback. He was also in this draft class. Running back is going to be Jamal Charles. Wide receivers, Andre Johnson is still in town. Quan Cosby actually ended up being pretty good. So down 7-0 early in this one, they quickly go down and answer. Down 14-7. Is Vick going to have what it takes to get a Super Bowl win out here, make this game competitive? 14-10 is now 17-14. Vick needs his offense to actually get some stops. That's something that does not happen. 31-21 here in the second half. 45-31 in the third quarter. Like, this game is going back and forth. It's 45-45 in the third quarter. Vick stop. Texans stop. Vick goes down and scores 52-45 48 right now. I can't even keep up with the score as quickly as they're scoring. And the Falcons have the ball with 2 minutes left, and they give up points late. They tie it up. They're going to OT. Vick is in OT, and he's going to lose this one 58-55. All right, boys, so take a look at this game. Vick actually played amazing. 128 QBR, 471 yards, 4 touchdowns, just 1 pick. 65% completion percentage, but one of those drives we had to settle for 3. I think that was the difference. Vick ran for 76 yards and a touchdown. Jamal Charles went crazy, so did Gable. Dorian Bryant continues to be that guy for us, bro. Like straight up and down, 13 for 160, 6 for 179 for Laurent Robinson, 6 for 124 for Mercedes Lewis. 4 touchdowns between the 3 of them, man. I mean, but when your offense gives up 55 points, can you really, but when your defense gives up 55 points, can you really and truly expect to win a football game? All right, boys, the Falcons are back in the playoffs at 9-7. Shout out to our guy, Vick. Let's jump right into it, bro, and see if he wins MVP. He doesn't. Pat White is actually going to win MVP. Vick finishes top 3. Doesn't finish in the top 5 of best offensive player. Same thing. What about NFC? That goes to Pat White. Offensive player of the year goes to LaMarcus Coker. Vick is top 4, and then best quarterback, Vick is top 4 once again. Let's see if Vick can actually get back to the playoffs, boys. Let's simulate this game. The Falcons beat the Packers. Pat White, the MVP, by 20. All right, divisional playoffs taking on the 11-5 Falcons. Let's sim this game as well. The Falcons lose 24-13. Vick threw for 291 yards. Mike Vick is still not saying goodbye to the game. Okay, so he's still alive and kicking. Here we are preparing for season 17. Vick is still the starter here for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's see if these boys can get back into the playoffs. Vick does exactly that. All right, boys, so Vick does exactly that. They go 11-5 in the playoffs here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the season stats. 5,100 yards, just 31 touchdowns and 17 picks. That's kind of a lot. 54% completion percentage, 321 a game. On the ground, he ran for 456, 4 touchdowns. Through the air, Dorian Bryant just continues to be that guy. That man is 100% going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame because he's going crazy. Vick finishes second in the MVP voting behind Cody Burns. Doesn't finish in the top of the Offensive Players of the Year. Top 3 for best quarterback. Let's take a look. NFC here. Doesn't win MVP. Doesn't win Offensive Player of the Year. But he does win best quarterback. So that's his second time winning that award. And he's winning them late in his career, man. So that's actually pretty dope that, you know, he's basically becoming a better quarterback later in his career because he can't rely on his athleticism as much. So first round of the playoffs. Let's see if they can win this game. They actually lose 34-23. Vick threw for 293 yards. That doesn't tell the whole story. He could have still played pretty poorly, but they're going to lose in a wild card round. All right, guys, Vick is back. Season 18, still a 92. I have not tampered with his ratings at all. You actually can't change ratings in these older Maddens, and he is ready to go at 38 years old. Yearly awards, Vick finishes top 5 in the MVP. He doesn't finish top 5 in Offensive Player of the Year. Doesn't finish top 5 in quarterbacks. Let's go to the NFC. 3rd in MVP voting. 4th in Offensive Player of the Year. And doesn't finish top 5 in best quarterback. But let's face it, he's in year 18. Are we really expecting him to be with the big dogs? I mean, he technically is, but are we still expecting him to win MVPs? Passing wise, 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns. He does throw those 20 picks. 54% completion percentage. On the ground, 565, 3 touchdowns. This man, CJ Gable, scored no touchdowns on the ground this season. Receiving wise, Dorian Bryant continues to eat 86 for 1384. 15 touchdowns. I mean, the same things we've been looking at Vick and these receivers do for like the last 10 plus years. Coming here at the player retirements, and Michael Vick officially announced his retirement. 39 years old, after 18 years of service in the NFL, he's finally going to call it quits. And it looks like Michael Vick is not going to be a part of the class of 2019's Hall of Famers. Michael Vick is second all-time in passing yards in a career behind Peyton Manning at 69,290. He's also second all-time in passing touchdowns in a career at 551, just behind Peyton Manning. He's tied for the most touchdown passes in the season with Carson Palmer at 50. He's first and third all-time for the most passing yards in the season. First place at 5,400, third place at 5,135. Adding on to the fact that Michael Vick won 4 or 5 NFL MVPs and even more NFC MVPs and made a bunch of Pro Bowls here in this sim alone. So I'm gonna simulate a couple seasons to see if Mike Vick actually makes it to the Hall of Fame, and if it's not just based off of when you retire or not. because this is absolutely blasphemous. And in his last season, he led the NFL in passing yards as well. Like that's just, and you know, tied for first place in touchdowns. So if he's not in the Hall of Fame, bro, I don't know what the hell we supposed to do here. All right, boys. So I went ahead and simulated quite a few more seasons, and I've just had to accept the fact that Michael Vick did not make it to the Hall of Fame. Even though he's second all time in passing yards, now that Carson Wentz is retired, he's third all time in passing touchdowns. Michael Vick still did not get the call or the nod to receive his gold jacket. So you guys let me know, with the rest of this sim, with the numbers that Mike Vick put up here with the Falcons in his new career, do you think what he did was good enough for him to make it to the Hall of Fame as a first ballot, second ballot, third ballot, you know, or not at all? You guys let me know down in the comment section below. And also let me know what players you want to see next. But to me, Michael Vick definitely got robbed.